Welcome, everyone. Thank you for listening. Today, I am talking to the incredible Sarah.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Do you want to do a quick introduction for everybody?
Yeah. Well, can I call you Pablo?
You can call me whatever you want.
Well, don't give me that leeway. um, my name is Sarah, and I am a friend of Pablo's.
How's it going down in Charlotte?
Tonight I actually saw a man diddling himself at the park. So, not great tonight. Hopefully
Wait, he
you
was
had a good
doing
night.
what?
Diddling himself.
Diddling?
Yeah. We
Can you
saw.
describe that for those that don't know what diddling is?
Okay, well, so his pants were unzipped and
Were they on or off?
they were on his hips, and his hands were, near that area. And it was maybe like he was aggressively scratching an itch that he just couldn't relieve. So it was something like that. My fiance and I had stopped to read a plaque because we like to be informed. And then I looked in the corner and saw that, grabbed his arm, told him we had to go. So,
Where in Charlotte is this?
oh, is Cherry a neighborhood?
Yes, that is right, just south of downtown, I believe.
Yeah, so it was along the Greenway, and there was like a stop area with a nice park. And anyway, the man was enjoying the park and enjoying himself, but typically that's not how my nights go. Much more low key with COVID.
Well, how has Charlotte been with COVID?
It really depends where you're going. I think some of the places take it more seriously, and people around town kind of know which breweries actually believe in it, whether the owners kind of practice what they're supposed to be doing. So I will typically do maybe a drive-by of a place first before I go, and I will only be in outdoor open areas.
Would you describe Charlotte as a very young type of city?
Oh my gosh, yes. The amount of girls in small dresses that I have seen on scooters this summer is insane. So yes.
But
I'm in the process of moving here, yeah.
and you're coming from,
Lexington, Kentucky.
how's the difference between Lexington, Kentucky and Charlotte?
Charlotte is much larger, of course, and Lexington is more of a college town with the University of Kentucky there. But what they do well are, I guess, like restaurants and breweries and bars. People in Kentucky know how to eat and they know how to drink, obviously, all the distilleries. So it's probably has a population of, maybe around 300,000, a little more. So for how small of an area it is, I think it's a lot of fun. I think Charlotte has more to offer. So I think it's a little more fun here.
Would you say that the beer or the drink scene is better in Charlotte or worse?
Well, better just because there's more of it. Just by volume alone, they win.
Gotcha. Charlotte takes pride in its breweries and all that good
I
stuff.
mean, there's one on every corner. Yes, yeah, they
Isn't
do.
that crazy?
It is. It is.
A little unnecessary almost.
Yes. Yeah, when I feel like I still maybe go to the same handful, and there's Lord only knows how many here, but for the most part, I stay put and take walks and then sleep. So.
So you had mentioned that sometimes you drive by a place before you decide to grab a drink or grab food.
Yes. So with COVID, I have had to be extra careful because I'm immune compromised. Because 6.5 years ago, I had a kidney transplant where I was the recipient. So I actually have three kidneys. Only one works, and her name is Sidney, and that is the one I stole from my sister. And I still have my two native kidneys. Who don't work so much, and which is why I needed the transplant.
Wait, you said you still have the other two?
Yeah, my native kidneys. So typically with a kidney transplant, unless your native kidneys are like super enlarged or kind of if they have cysts, which mine do, if those cysts are constantly getting infected and causing you issues, they will remove your native kidneys when they do a kidney transplant. But if you're not having those problems, they just leave them be because you're just adding additional unnecessary surgeries otherwise. So it's higher risk to remove two kidneys and add one. So I have three.
I did not know that.
That's funny. I guess I just assume everyone knows it.
So you literally have 3 kidneys inside of you at all times.
Quite literally. And you can feel Sidney, the one, my transplanted kidney. So they connect to it's in my lower abdomen. So if I'm laying down, you can kind of see where the lump is. So I can always give her a little pat, see how she's hanging.
Hold on. So,
Yeah, I mean, all these times we were together, you could have touched my kidney, which so touched a part of my sister.
huh.
I know.
In my head, and I'm gonna guess that everyone's as dumb as me, but I would assume that everybody would think that if your kidneys go bad, they take them out and then they add one.
I think a lot of people would think that. And I think a lot of people would think that they would remove a kidney and just replace it right in that same spot. And that's actually not what happens at all. So it's why it's in my lower abdomen is so it's attached to my bladder and then I think to some major veins, like into my bloodstream
Do
in
you
the front of me.
feel it on a regular basis, or is it almost like
I probably feel her every morning when I'm stretching, like laying in bed, just kind of like waking up for the day. Yeah, I say hi. I check in on her. It might just be me.
that is wild? I did not know that.
Yeah.
So I imagine then with COVID, you've had no choice but to take it as serious as possible.
Correct. So if I was an essential worker who had to continue to report to work, I would have had to take FMLA leave, and I would have been covered under that.
What is FLMA?
Is that the Family Medical Leave Act, perhaps? But it includes like pregnancy or when I had the kidney transplant, basically per the government, I think I got 12 weeks off and they had to offer me my job or a similar job when I got back. But most companies offer, a more extensive kind of short-term leave policy anyway. But yeah, so it's serious. They don't want me out and about in the world. They basically don't want me leaving the room, they being my doctors.
So that's a federal policy?
That is, FMLA is a federal policy.
Okay. I didn't know about that either.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would say every pregnant woman does, because that's going to be covered under it. And then any other sickly person, you normies, you just don't get it.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So have you felt I don't want to say trapped, but a little bit locked in during this whole pandemic then?
Yeah, definitely more so. And it's hard for me because I can only control me. And so I'm kind of enforcing this all on my fiance when that, like, when you're out, no, don't touch your face when you're out, and you can't do this because whatever germs you are exposed to, you're bringing back home. So it is kind of tough to force that on other people. It just puts you in a weird spot. So there are friends that I know are out and about, like all of South Carolina. Like they just don't care. It's the Wild West down there. So I try not to go down there, see people that I know. Um,
There's a Fazoli's an hour south of Charlotte.
I just still don't love it. Although I did start making my own like pasta from scratch, and I wasn't as good at it as I thought I would be. Like I'd watched my dad do it several times, and I just thought maybe like osmosis, I had that magic skill, but I still didn't wish for Fazoli's though. I do love pasta and provisions down here in Charlotte.
Oh yeah, I recommended that place to people and I've yet to go.
Oh my God, Pablo. It's so good.
It just looks amazing. So I would tell people to go there, but me myself, I am not a huge pasta guy.
Well, obviously, if you like Fazoli's, that's how I know that you're not a big pasta guy. Is your favorite pasta is fast food pasta?
I'm a little offended, but I'll let this one go.
Because it's the truth.
Well, no, I'm definitely intrigued because, I mean, even I think it was today or yesterday where the president is saying, "Don't be afraid of the virus," right?
Yeah, and I just think that's ignorant, as most things that come out of his mouth are, because he's putting others at risk. Like that's just don't be so selfish and so rude that you can't put on a mask around others. like, I don't care what you do to yourself, not at all. But when what you're doing could potentially impact me and my life and take that away, yeah, then I get mad. That's crazy.
Do you go grocery shopping, or do you
Yeah,
get food delivered?
no, I'll go to the grocery store. Mask on, just hand sanitizer, kind of perpetually. But no, I've gone to the grocery store. I've gone to a handful of breweries and sat outside. My fiance and I were on vacation a few weeks ago, but we were hiking and stuff like that, so we really actually weren't around other people. So I still do stuff, but within reason. Or if I'm somewhere and it starts to get crowded, then I just leave. So
Right.
pretty much how it is.
And what have you done? Because that's got to be exhausting, right? Especially when this is becoming your everyday these days.
I mean, I think everyone is exhausted from this, but because prior,
Not South Carolina.
no, they're party animals down there. It's crazy. But prior to COVID hitting, I was basically working remotely anyway, and I was in grad school. So between working full time and being in grad school, I really didn't do anything anyway. So I barely left the house. And so now it just seems to be a continuation of that, but with a lot more Netflix since I no longer have school to contend with. So I think I was better prepared for it and a little bit, already kind of isolated from it.
And you say you just graduated in May,
In
right?
May, with my master's in applied statistics. So
Well,
thank
congratulations.
you. Yeah, I've yet to do anything with that degree, but we'll see. Hopefully, I can transition jobs soon to quantitative modeling, what every little girl wants to be when she grows up.
Right? All the paperwork that comes with models sounds
Mhm. I
fun.
know. Now I can say I'm a model.
There you go.
I'd be a modeler.
So I am curious though, how this situation came to be where you had to receive a third kidney, Sydney.
So yeah, I was or am, I suppose, a spontaneous genetic mutation. So super fun. So it presented as polycystic kidney disease. So when I was born, I had an innumerable amount of cysts on my kidneys, and they only realized it because I was born with high blood pressure. And so they thought that's not normal. And when they I guess, looked into it more, they realized my kidneys weren't fully functioning. So I was hanging in there. So they actually thought I would need a transplant then, within the first however many weeks of my life. But the function really didn't decline. So I was hanging in there, and then I didn't need the transplant until I was 27. So I hung in there pretty good, but I probably could have transplanted a year or two earlier. I think when you spend so long not feeling well, you kind of don't recognize that it's different, like that you're sick.
So you
So
you felt sick for a year or two?
yeah, so it was such a slow kind of decline. I think at every stage of it, you sort of just gotten used to whatever your one new symptom was that day. So when it did kind of start to decline in my mid 20s, the first time I really sort of noticed it was when I was running. I ran just like a 5K. It was like a cute little Halloween 5K. And just every step and stride was just so labored. I thought, well, this isn't right. And then it got to the point where I was kind of sleeping 14 hours a night, and you're nauseous during the day and you're not really eating that much. But I found that if I drank seltzer water and ate crackers all day long, that like as long as my stomach wasn't empty but wasn't full, I could do it. So it's just so many little things like that add up. But my numbers had been terrible for a while, so I was actually listed on the donor list. Like if I had needed, a cadaver kidney, if something with my sister fell through, my numbers were poor enough to be on that list when I was 22. But then I hung in there another 5 years. Now looking back, I kind of wish I did it maybe a year sooner, but
That's incredible, but also sounds not so pleasant.
yeah, it was tough. A lot of people thought I was pregnant because I kind of stopped going out, stopped kind of being a person in their mid to late 20s. And if I was at dinner, I wouldn't really eat much. I wasn't drinking alcohol. So everyone was like, "Oh, are you pregnant?" Like, oh, it's like, no, no, I need a new kidney. And so that's hard to tell people that that didn't know, and it because it didn't affect kind of my outward appearance or attitude. Most people didn't know, so as friends found out, they kind of got mad at me for like just finding out a few weeks before I went in for the surgery. So I do wish I had been more open with everyone and just said, "Hey, like I'm sick. I need a kidney transplant. I really don't feel like going to the bars tonight. Like, why don't you come over and we watch a movie? Because that's about all I can handle." And I think everyone would have been more than willing to oblige, but I just didn't. It's kind of a weird thing to bring up, and you don't want like the sympathy eyes. Like, it's just a certain look people give you when they find out you have some sort of serious medical condition, and you don't want that. You don't need anyone's pity. Um,
Well, especially when you're younger, right?
mhm.
Because everything matters in your eyes.
Oh my God, everything.
Even when it
Yes.
doesn't matter, it matters.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I'm just starting to get over all that. Like, I feel like a lot of that changes when you hit 30. It's like, man, you really stopped caring about those little things you shouldn't have cared about for those past 30 years.
So growing up, you knew, or let me
Yeah.
ask, at what age did you fully understand that you had a medical issue?
From day one. So always knew I had a medical issue, and I always knew I had kidney problems. So I could speak pretty knowledgeably about renal failure at a very young age. But even when I was a toddler, I had to be on high blood pressure medicine, and they don't generally, I guess, make that in like liquid children's form. So I would swallow adult pills. But I'm a toddler, so it didn't always work out. So sometimes my mom would have to like cut it up, or I'd start like gagging or whatever. And now looking back, they're tiny pills. But so I always knew I needed my medicine if I went for a sleepover or something like that, or at summer camp, I had to always miss like the Pledge of Allegiance and like raising the flag and stuff because I had to walk down the medical office. So I don't know. I guess I always knew. And actually, when I was born, they thought I'd need a transplant. They tested, my family members, and I have a sister who's 3.5 years older than me. And at the time, she was tested, and she was a match. So we've always known that she would be the donor. So actually, when we would fight when we were growing up, and I was a pill, like I was terrible. She was like so sweet and laid back, and I was everything but like she'd finally scream at me like, "You're not getting my kidney." Um, and actually, probably the most recent time that happened, we were in our 20s and we were out at a bar in downtown Pittsburgh, because that was where I grew up. And the bartender like overheard it and was like, "What?" I was like, "Oh no, don't worry, serve us those shots. Like, I'm getting a new kidney. Don't worry about it." So it was always kind of funny for someone to overhear a random kidney comment and have us explain it. But
Did she ever, want the last slice of pizza or something and say, "Hey, I'm getting that, or else you don't get a kidney"?
she has never ever rubbed it in my face, and she's even like apologized. So after the transplant, I can't eat any sort of undercooked food or runny eggs, stuff like that.
And that's till this day.
Yeah, so forever, as long as I'm on immunosuppressants, which I will be for life because that's why I don't reject my kidney. But she was eating something I couldn't have, and I guess I was just like staring longingly at it. I don't know if it was a raw steak or something, and um, she immediately understood like the longing in my eye, and then she apologized to me. And then it like took her a second. She's like, "Wait, I gave you a kidney." I was like, "Yeah, you eat your steak. Like, this is not an
She
apology
should enjoy it.
situation." Yeah, no. So she's so nice. We were actually interviewed by the Pittsburgh Post Gazette prior to the transplant, and the woman who interviewed me asked how I asked my sister for her kidney. And it was dead silent because I didn't have a response because I did not ask her formally for her kidney. So as soon as I got off the phone with the interview lady, I called my sister and was like, I have to apologize to you. I guess I was supposed to take you out for a fancy dinner and ask if I could have your kidney. And I did not. So yeah, it was just something we both kind of knew. And when I tell people that, they always respond with, "Oh, my sibling wouldn't do that for me." But I think most people's siblings would. But it is an amazing thing. And I think it's even more amazing when you see, strangers donating to people.
No, that's a very powerful thing. I know on my end, I don't feel selfish, but
You have both kidneys, don't you?
yes, I do. And I'm not gonna lie, I am not eager to hand one over.
No, it's actually very painful. And I guess I shouldn't
Is
say
it?
this on yeah, so it is actually more painful for the donor than it is for the recipient. However, the donor can get the good stuff as far as pain management. The recipient, because you don't really have working kidneys and you're just getting this new one popped in there, they're not going to give you that high dose stuff. So, but yeah, it's very painful for the donor.
So what about before you got Sydney? Were you on, and this is before you got sick, were you on a diet,
Oh my gosh.
a restrictive
Yeah.
diet?
So all of my life, I've been doing low sodium because of the high blood pressure, and eventually, it's probably maybe when I was in college, the high blood pressure corrected itself. So that was strange, and so I asked my doctors. I was like, "Well, do you think my kidneys are bouncing back?" And they're like, "Oh no, we think the area that was causing the problem is probably like necrotic, like has died." I was like, "Oh, okay." Um,
Looking for good news here.
well, yeah, and so, I mean, they had to transfer me from the like children's hospital doctors that I saw to the adult hospital when I was 16. So still very much a child. But when I got to the adult hospital, they drew me a death chart. And so I came home, I put it on the fridge, but basically they were trying to explain, when this number goes down, like that it's stage 3, stage 4, and then it's like death of the kidney type of thing.
Wait, can you
So
describe this death chart? I've
right.
never heard of this.
It was legit. He just drew a line that was going down. It's like my kidney function. So
So he made it himself. It wasn't even a printout.
no, it wasn't. Yeah, correct. Well, no, yeah, there should never be a printout of a death chart. No, it was just a doctor with, poor bedside manner, which you run into a lot of that. So I've also learned to really appreciate the good doctors when you have them, because that's an amazing thing. But there, are a lot that aren't as great, aren't as caring and considerate as you might want. Oh, but all the crazy diets. So your kidneys, filter. They're the filters of your body. So as they declined, they couldn't filter certain things, and so they, find it in your urine basically. And so basically, what I couldn't filter, I would try and stop eating. So I did low phosphorus, which if you look it up, phosphorus is in almost everything. So like dairy, bread, gelatin. I was eating a freakish amount of like gummy snacks, and I didn't realize that I had like cut it all out of my diet, but I didn't realize that was the one thing I was still eating that it was still in. So yeah, I've always kind of been on a diet, and even now, I mean, I eat a lot of different food, but most days I try and get a few healthy items in my body. I've definitely treated my body better since the transplant.
Is it mostly highly processed foods that are the enemy?
Oh, I don't really eat those. Yeah, I mean, yes, that's just terrible for everyone. No one should eat lunch meat.
So you're not getting McDonald's chicken nuggets?
No, ew. And I didn't grow up eating a lot of that food, so that's not a big adjustment for me. It's just you eat good food, you cook good food, and you eat what you cook. I don't know.
So something that I am curious in is you've had this, you know, since day one.
Mhm.
Do you know what the process or the headaches that came along with that in terms of medical billing, insurance, all that
Oh
good
my
stuff.
gosh. Yeah. So, yes, I spend a lot of time on the phone with my insurance company. In fact, this week I was on the phone with my online or mail order specialty pharmacy because I'd noticed one of my immunosuppressants had been in the processing phase for like 5 days. So I called. I was like, "Why hasn't this shipped yet?" And they just responded with, "Oh, well, it's out of stock." I was like, and you weren't gonna tell me or my doctors that the medicine that prevents me from rejecting my kidneys was out of stock. I had to actively watch this and then call you for that. So it did actually ship today, though. So don't worry, I will continue to live. But my
I hope
sister,
so.
yeah, she reminds me that I can't have her other kidney. So you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, billing, and medical insurance, that's a real thing you need to watch for because they will double bill you, which is illegal, but it happens and it's just wrong a lot. A lot of what they send out is wrong. So you really need to keep track of your EOBs and all your bills. And it's expensive and the medications are expensive. So that's always been a part of my life. And then before pre-existing conditions were covered, I knew I couldn't go to graduate school like right after college. Like I originally I had been looking at more, science-based degrees where I would, maybe need a master's in genetics or something like that. But I knew with my pre-existing condition, I wouldn't have been able to get insurance coverage. And then the insurance
So
coverage that like a university offers isn't enough to help someone like me. So I knew that, 22, graduated, got kicked off my parents' plan, had to have a job with insurance. So, yeah, it's definitely been something that's guided my life, my whole life.
literally because of the fear of not being insured prevented you from going straight into getting a master's.
Correct.
That's wild.
Yep. Then Obama came along. So,
There's a lot of problems with Obamacare, but I think this is one of the things that they got right
I agree. Yeah.
in not letting the insurance companies punish those for pre-existing conditions, right? Because at what point did you choose to have this condition?
Yeah, never.
And it's not like you just ate crap for 20 years in a row and
Well,
then develop something,
that's
right?
my other issue too, and I need to not be this way. But when I look at perfectly healthy people shoving shit into their mouths and then becoming obese, having heart disease, becoming diabetic, you just brought all that on yourself. Like, if you can just eat one less hamburger, should that be a disease? And I find that frustrating. Like,
Right.
I feel like I work so hard to just live and be able to live, a normal, happy, healthy life. I do get a little like jealous and angry sometimes. I know I shouldn't. So I probably shouldn't have said it on the podcast, but it happens. I'm only
But I mean, let's be honest, right? This whole world would be in such a better situation if we did kind of balance out our diet. If we didn't just go to Golden Corral, all you can eat for, 15.99 and get all of these, quote unquote diseases.
Yeah, and I do wish there was a better way to get healthy food to everyone because I also feel like if that's the most bang for your buck and you don't have that much money and you have a family to feed, then yeah, you're going to go through the drive-through and get 4 Big Macs. And then, that's not your fault. Like that's really not your choice when that's your only choice. So, I think it goes, beyond that. So,
Yeah,
it's a lot of things need fixed.
there's definitely a ton of economic and social injustice out there that leads to a lot of these unhealthy habits.
Correct. And then when you look, and I'm sure this is stuff that you pay attention to, but the outcomes are so much different, for white people versus black people and the type of health care that they receive. And, oftentimes, the African American community, their complaints kind of fall on deaf ears when they're at the doctor's office. And so they're less likely to go and then their problems become worse. And again, not anything that they've done.
No, yeah, I think the thing that makes me the most upset is similar to what you were saying, is when I see young to middle-aged well off people making the worst decision.
Correct. Yes, just being gluttons. Yes, I want to
Right.
specify. Yes, that is. Those are the only people I'm mad at. The other people I would love to do a community garden with, type of thing.
Right. And, I'm super guilty of, going to Fazoli's and probably eating more breadsticks than I probably should, but it is not a normal thing for me to do.
No, I think everyone needs a cheat day or two
Mhm.
or three, and I'm a known snacker, and I can't have a snack in the house because I'll eat it all in one day. So, yeah, everyone, I feel like if on average you're nourishing your body, then you're doing really good.
And then they also come up with excuses. Oh, well, I'm a father. Oh, I've been working. Oh, this. And it's like, I get it. Like every now and then you need to release some stress. Have one too many beers, have one too many burgers,
Mhm.
whatever, right? But again, if you have the ability and the knowledge of what to do, it's hard not to judge.
It is, yeah, no, I agree, obviously, because I judge. Um, but I do think there is so much different information and so much like misinformation out there, and with fad diets and whatnot, that
Hmm.
someone who is maybe trying to lose weight or trying to have a better lifestyle could still kind of go down a random path of, I don't know what all the fad people are doing, but
So in your situation, have you met people who don't want to wear a mask, who don't take COVID seriously, who are just kind of, I don't know, putting people, especially, with pre-existing conditions in danger?
I really haven't met anyone because I haven't met anyone, period, recently. But I will say, everyone is very like kind with me. They all kind of say the right things around me because they know it's something that could impact me negatively. But then it's like, well, but I saw your Instagram. Like, I know where you were last Saturday. You were not being socially distant. Um, so I feel like there's, a group of people that one of my friends, well, she had a baby in July, but when she was pregnant, um, well, and after she had the baby when she was on maternity leave, I obviously trusted her because she was just at her house. And then she had said multiple times to me that like I was the only friend she trusted because she knew I really wasn't leaving the house or kind of doing anything. But I do think it's probably been tough for a lot of people to have those kind of awkward conversations with their friend groups if, you know, some people aren't caring about COVID and some people are. Well, it's definitely just a bizarre thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a shame, at the number of people out there who have politicized
Correct.
this.
Yeah, science should never be politicized. I think that's crazy. I do hope that because of COVID, more people wear masks during flu season. So that's another thing because of transplant and my compromised immune system. Anytime during the flu season, if I was in a crowd, I would be in my mask. And I got a lot of looks because no one really understood why. And I even had a girl in the women's restroom. I was at a concert, Bojangles Coliseum, actually. She thanked me for wearing a mask because she assumed I was sick. And I was like, oh, well, I agree. Sick people should wear masks, but I'm actually wearing a mask to protect myself from you. And then like, told her about the kidney transplant. So I befriended like all these women in the restroom. It was pretty, we'd all been drinking. Um, so that was a kind of a funny night. But so you'll, see pictures of me well before COVID in a mask. So
You did
I
it
was
before it was cool.
yeah, I was a trendsetter. I was a trendsetter with mask wearing and with sweatpant wearing. So I'm very proud that now I'm trendy with my sweatpants and my bathrobe.
Well, one of the things, I think it was April or May, when masks became a little bit more, hey, everyone should wear one. It blew my mind to be in America surrounded by people wearing masks, because when I was in Japan or in Hong Kong, you would see people wearing masks all the time.
Hmm.
And they do that over there when you are sick, or, if you're susceptible to getting sick.
And with
They
the
would all put
population
on a
growing,
mask and it would be normal, absolutely normal. And then here, half the country is just, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I kind of like it. I get carded a lot more when I'm in my mask. Usually, if I'm in a baseball cap and a mask, they always think I'm much younger than I am, not being able to see my face. So that's kind of been a little ego boost. It keeps you a little bit warmer in the winter time, blowing that hot air back on yourself. So people come around.
It's an interesting time to be alive.
Yeah, no, crazy.
Well, I really want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
You're
I
very
think
welcome.
it's you, of all people that I know, are probably one of the biggest balls of positive energies I've ever met.
No, I think my dad said it best. Actually, before I went to Africa to climb Kilimanjaro, he was talking to my friend who was going with me, and he'd said something like, "The Kellogg women have a lot of confidence, though it might be misplaced." So I think, that's probably accurate, and it helps for the most part. Yeah, I'm a happy person that kind of believes anything is doable, but we all get down sometimes,
Well, I
especially
mean,
COVID.
what was it? 25 years of refusing to get a transplant. Your body just kept going, right?
I know, just kept hanging on. Yeah, they really tried. Yeah, they really did. No, it finally got to the point where like I couldn't stand up for more than 15 minutes. So
That's insane.
it was. But just because it happened also like slowly, I feel like I didn't notice it as much. But and then I also thought like day one of post transplant that I would just feel amazing because I've never had full kidney function before, and I do now. But I was thinking like, oh, I'll bring weights to the hospital room, like I can like work out. No, after a
Go
major
for a
surgery,
jog.
yeah, I could barely get out of the bed. But so again, that was kind of me thinking like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna feel amazing. Yeah. So sometimes, I don't have a great grasp on reality. I think it's gonna be a lot better than it is. But
But we need people like you. The positivity is amazing. Your energy is amazing. And hopefully, like you were saying, they might say something on Instagram about masks and about everything else, but when they talk to you, they become reasonable human beings, right?
yeah, and everyone is pretty good with me. All of our friends. We'll have people in the backyard for a few beers or something like that. But everyone kind of comes in wearing their masks, and we set up like tables far away and stuff. But they always kind of like ask if they can take it off, and everyone is really good around me. And I can't even believe that so many of my friends went and got their brains tickled and had their COVID test. Just so I could hang out with them. And I was like, no, you guys, I was gonna be in a mask. Like you didn't have to do that. So I certainly appreciate everyone's kind of response to me with it. I just wish everyone as a whole was more careful and just realize that this is a real thing, and yeah, it sucks, but we'll get through it.
Yeah, it's definitely not forever. And yeah, everybody should just pretend like they have a best friend that can get sick and actually die from this. So make smart decisions at all times, right? Not just when you're at Sarah's house.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, if I wasn't in this situation and if I was younger, like in my college years, I can't say that I would have been as careful. I feel like those are the times where you feel invincible, and I think obviously that's why we're seeing all the numbers spike now.
Right.
But hopefully, hopefully they all live for the most part, since they're younger.
Well, again, thank you so much for being on the podcast and talking about this. And hopefully I can see you one of these days.
I know it'll probably be a while before I'm in New York City again, but I would
And I
like to.
promise I'll wear a mask.
I would like to be. Yeah, I'm just not going to travel up there. That's the thing. I don't. I guess I could drive up, but it'll
It's
be
a short drive.
it'll be a while before I'm on any sort of public transit. So maybe a longer trip is in my near future. I'm not sure.
Well, sooner or later, I'll see you in person.
Yeah.
And
I'll let
again,
you I'll let you poke Sydney. You can say hi to her.
that'll probably gross me out, so I might pass, but
So
we'll
some of
see.
my friends are super into it. Like they like well, a lot of them are doctors and stuff, and also my friends, but they'll be, really excited to touch it. And some of my other friends, because I'll ask, especially we're all like at yoga together, where she's kind of just like in my mind sitting out right there. Anyway, I'm like, oh, you want to touch her? And then yeah, I've had friends totally give me like the weirdest look and like shake their head, like, oh
Oh yeah,
wow, okay, all right. I
I would be
guess
like, absolutely not.
maybe that was weird.
Not every day someone's like, "Hey, come here. That's my third kidney."
Yeah, you want to touch my sister?
Well, your sister's very kind.
She is super kind. Yep, gold medal.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night, and
Mm.
again, thank you. I will
Yeah.
talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, Pablo.
Bye.